G'day everyone, welcome to Shane's Shed. Today I'm going to be doing an engine oil change on a 2010 Holden Barina. I'll just show you how it's done. It's probably a bit irrelevant for vehicles nowadays. It's not real common, and to be honest it's a bit of a piece of shit. But anyway, let's get into it. So this particular model Holden Barina, built from 2005 to 2011, obviously known as the Holden Barina in Australia, but it was basically just a rebadged Daewoo Kalos. Yeah, so pretty much what I'm showing you is going to be similar for those models as well. So in some other markets this was also known as the Chevrolet Aveo, A-V-E-O, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, Aveo. Sounds way kind of like you may get a restraining order out in there, but anyway, that's what it is. So yeah, let's get into the oil change. So obviously before we dump oil, we either want to be getting the car up on ramps or jack it up. I'm going to be checking brakes and whatnot, so that's why I've got it jacked up on all fours. Now these are pretty simple for an oil change. Obviously you'll need something to drop your oil into. You'll need something to undo the sump plug, which is just here, which is a 16mm, so whether that's a ringy, socket, spanner, whatever. And the oil filter is just up the front of the engine, just up here. So probably it's good to have a filter wrench to be able to undo that. Also doesn't hurt to have some gloves on hand for when you're changing oil, because you will get oil on your hands, and trust me, used oil you don't really want on your skin. Now if I'm honest, this style of filter wrench I find is kind of painful to use actually, and I've got to replace it with something a bit better. It's just not a real good design. It slips on the filters and it's just hard to get in the spots. Especially this one, it's actually quite tight up. Doesn't really get on that filter at all, so I'll probably just try and undo it by hand, which the camera's in the way to make things difficult for me as well, as always the case while filming. There we go. Yeah, cracked it. Yep. Now, when you're doing these horizontal filters, you are going to lose some oil as you undo them. It's just the nature of the game. So make sure you're able to contain it below, and you're not just spilling it on the floor. So as always, for a new filter, we just want to put a bit of oil on this O-ring. So I just normally pour a bit on like that, and then just lube it up. If this is a filter that was mounted vertically like this, then I'd normally give this a prime, so fill this with oil, but because it's mounted horizontally, it's just going to drain out as soon as we start to put it on, so there's not much point. Now for this particular car, I'm just using the Ryco Z154 filter, just a spin-on, nice and simple. Depending on what market you are, maybe a different filter number. But basically with these, just screw them up till that O-ring makes contact with the block, and then just give it 3/4 of a turn, no more. I normally give it about half to 3/4, wherever, just by hand, so it doesn't need to go too tight. Otherwise they're impossible to get off. So that's been draining for a little while. There's basically nothing but a slow drip left. So obviously before we go refilling the sump, make sure that sump plug goes back in. And while we're under here, we'll just give everything a bit of a wipe. Now these don't need to be super tight, just a bit of a nip is all that's needed. Otherwise, as like the filter, if it's too tight, it is impossible to get off. And trust me, you don't want that next time you come to do this job. So refilling's pretty simple. Obviously, refill our oil cap and we fill it. These take about just under 4 litres. With all engines, you want to be on your dipstick between your max and your min during operation. When refilling it, make sure it's up towards the max. Try not to overfill them and you should be fine. I always just use a funnel just on the when pouring the oil in, makes it a bit easier, less messy. There's just a little bit of excess oil here I'm using. I'm using Penrite HPR5. It's a 5W40. I use Penrite oils in quite a few various applications. No affiliation with it, just it's a reasonable product. It's Australian made. So yeah, can't really go wrong. Now as you can see as well, like this one, not all manufacturers do something like this, but here you can see your minimum mark and your maximum mark, and in between it says 1 litre. So between the min and the max is 1 litre. Not everyone does that, but that's quite a handy little thing to have. Now, obviously when refilling, give it a few minutes to let the levels settle on the dipstick, because obviously that oil needs to drop down the engine. And you can see that's pretty well spot on. When you got horizontal filters like this, it's okay to go a little bit above it, because when you start it, it's going to prime that. It will drop your level down a bit. So yeah, once you started this engine, let it run, let it build oil pressure, you can shut it down and then recheck the oil level. So everyone, that's pretty much as easy as it is for an engine oil change on these Holden Barinas, Aveos, Kalos, whatever the hell they were, I've forgotten now. Pretty simple change. You can do it yourself, so don't hesitate. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Throw a comment as well. Really appreciate it. It helps with the channel growth and all. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.